Good morning, Taiwan, and thank you for joining us here. I am Louisa Lee, here to keep you informed and entertained. 欢迎收看 Louisa 报报，每天给您最新最有趣的新闻。First, in the U.S., Occupy D.C. protesters were not budged by eviction deadline set by the authorities, which prohibited the demonstrators to spend any more nights in Washington parks. 占领 Wall Street 运动在美国各地进行，在 Washington D.C. 的示威者不顾 police 命令，占领公园继续抗议。
Occupy protesters remain in their tents in two Washington, D.C. parks overnight, as a National Parks Police deadline for them to move on passes peacefully. Protesters were warned on Friday to stop sleeping overnight in McPherson Square and Freedom Plaza, and to remove all equipment by noon on Monday or risk arrest. But the deadline passed, and so far no one has been evicted or arrested. Despite their small numbers, the demonstrators, whose camps are a short distance from the White House, have attracted much media attention. They're protesting the growing income gap, corporate greed, and what they see as unfair tax structure favoring the richest 1% of Americans.
And the city of Shanghai is set to become the next global money hub in a few years, with targets aiming at opening markets wider to foreign investors and upping its non-currency financial transactions. 大陆宣布要将上海打造成国际金融中心，不过专家就认为，大陆官方还要尽快开放资本市场以及人民币自由兑换，才能让上海成为香港一样的金融中心。
Big city, big ambitions. Shanghai is ramping up its goal to rival New York and London as a global finance centre by 2020. Now authorities have announced plans for Shanghai to become a massive onshore yuan trading hub in just 3 years. So where does this leave China's offshore trading centre, Hong Kong? China's two financial capitals have long been competing for supremacy. And despite Shanghai's stellar growth, analysts say Hong Kong has nothing to fear, at least in the short term. Enzio von Pfeil.
So I think that the one who will win that competition curiously will be Hong Kong, because I think that Shanghai will not be able to internationalize the yuan on a 3-year view. They simply will not have the rule of law with which to do that.
China's latest announcement shows it still wants to keep a tight grip on its currency, despite international calls for it to free up the yuan. It declared Shanghai will fix yuan prices and lending rates for all yuan trade by 2015. But analysts say China should take its cue from more open markets.
If Shanghai is smart, they will then also tap into Hong Kong's and London's expertise to really create a win-win situation for everybody.
China has promoted Hong Kong as an international trading hub, helping its long-term goal to internationalise its currency. But for investors eager to trade the yuan, this week's moves shows China still intends to call the shots on how and when it allows its currency to freely float.
And now you can either eat an apple a day or carry your smartphone with you to keep the doctors away. Scientists are working their way in creating a new technology that will save billions of dollars in healthcare costs. Now follow the next report to find out how you may be able to diagnose diseases in the future days with your cell phone. South Korea 的科学家研发出一种科技，让人可以透过手机的荧幕来诊断疾病，有那么神奇吗？我们一起来看看。
Smartphones are no longer just phones, they're mini computers. And a team of Korean scientists is about to take the technology into another realm, disease diagnosis. Professor Park Hyun-gyu says his team's research will enable cell phones to diagnose a range of diseases, from cancer to diabetes. Laboratory experiments have demonstrated that a droplet of blood or saliva on a smartphone's touchscreen can produce an instant diagnosis. The technology was developed on the basis of the touchscreen's capacity to detect the minute electrical signals generated by a fingertip's touch. That ability is called capacitive sensitivity. Park says biomolecules, like those produced by diseases, transmit similar signals that a touchscreen can recognize.
If you have a certain type of DNA or proteins, the touchscreen would react in the same way as a finger's electrical signal is detected.
Park says his team is the first to demonstrate that a touchscreen can be used to detect biomolecules. He says the recognition rate is nearly 100% accurate and is as effective as conventional medical equipment. But researcher Won Byung-yan says more work needs to be done before the technology is perfected.
현재는 생체 물질의 존재 유무 또는 그것의 농도를
Currently, we've reached the level where we can detect certain biomolecules' existence or concentration, but we can't define what the biomolecule is. Therefore, we're producing a film covered in a certain substance which can selectively react to certain biomolecules, so that we can determine what those biomolecules are.
물질이 코팅된 그런 필름을 현재 제작하고 있습니다.
Once it's moved beyond the laboratory, the team believes the technology could transform diagnostic techniques and save billions in healthcare costs. It could be applied to inexpensively diagnosed diseases in environments like nursing homes or mobile clinics, and radically reduce the necessity and expense of sending samples to a lab for testing. The International Telecommunications Union says billions of people use cell phones around the world every day. The idea of exposing their touchscreens to saliva or blood samples may not appeal to many. But according to Park's team, the practice will one day save time, money, and lives.
And now turning to entertainment news, meet Hollywood star Nicolas Cage's double in Paris. The 48-year-old star recently traveled to Musée Grévin to unveil a wax figure of himself, and it is fair to say he's quite pleased with the result. 演员 Nicolas Cage 最近到了 Paris 去参加他的蜡像揭幕仪式。他说这个蜡像做的真的很像自己，好像随时都会动起来一样。
The Academy Award-winning actor, who's best known for his roles in films like Face Off and Leaving Las Vegas, has appeared in over 60 films in the past 5 decades. Cage looked impressed at the likeness created at the museum and was more than happy to pose for pictures with fans.
Musée Grévin provides that wonderful feeling of fear and delight because it looks identical. They are masters of what they do.
Is it weird to have the statue here?
Totally weird to be looking at that. Now he has boots on, so he's a little taller. He's got another inch because of the heel of the boot. But I can't look at it too long because I'm afraid it's going to turn and say something.
Since it first opened in the late 19th century, the Grévin Museum has been drawing crowds lured by the glamour of lifelike wax statues of famous people, including actors, musicians, sports stars, and even politicians such as President Barack Obama. Cage's wax twin now features among other celebrities like Michael Jackson and Marilyn Monroe at the museum. As for upcoming projects, Cage said that he wants to be part of the sequel to his 2006 flick, The Wicker Man.
And now to movie news. Sporting her brown locks and with plenty of attitude, actress Katherine Heigl takes on the character as a gutsy bounty hunter who ends up chasing a wanted cop from her romantic past in the upcoming action comedy One for the Money. 浪漫喜剧女王 Katherine Heigl 推出她最新的作品《头号冤家》，里面她饰演一个赏金猎人，没想到要追捕的居然是她的前男友，两个人又会发生什么样的火花呢？我们抢先来看看吧。
I got some not so great news. I got let go from Macy's lingerie department.
Those bastards. Who wouldn't enjoy a nice thong?
Blue-collar Jersey girl Stephanie Plum, played by Katherine Heigl, is in dire need. Unemployed and newly divorced, Stephanie accepts the job as a bail enforcement agent with no prior training, out of desperation for some fast cash. However, she gets more than she bargained for after discovering that her chase involves her old flame, murder suspect Joe Morelli, who happened to be the one that broke her heart back in high school.
From Lula, you gotta bring her a snack.
A snack?
I'm hungry.
You're out of your league. Gotta stay sharp, Plum. Stephanie Plum. Vinny sent you to bring me in.
You're going down, bro.
You know what? You're sexy as hell.
Oh. Come on.
Good to see you, Cupcake.
I'm gonna hail Morelli. Not nail Morelli, you know what I mean. Yeah. He's worth 50 grand.
Didn't the two of you have a little...
It was high school, Grandma.
Freaking nuts. This is my car. Damn it. Oh, my God. Is that guy naked? Fresh air is good for the boys.
Oh, come on.
I want my car and I want it now. How does a person eat like you eat and look like you look?
Hey, why are you messing with my tasty cake, huh? We got this good cop, bad cop thing going, except with hookers. They blew up our car.
Excuse me, whose car?
Your car. You want it back?
You've been hit.
Thanks.
And One for the Money is available to you in the nearest theaters next Friday. And that's it for today's edition. I am Louisa Lee, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Meanwhile, stay with CTS for the latest weather update and for more top stories.